Congratulations, wonderful. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic. Okay, now I have a question to you from your side. How do you feel before I say something to your wonderful playing? It's all, I can already say that it's wonderful. But how do you feel yourself when you are playing? What is it that you think that you might want to improve?
There's just like a lot of like very small, like a note here or something. I think, yeah, there's a few places that I just think maybe the dynamic contrast could be just a little better.
Yeah.
I feel like I could have, I mean, of course that last note, I really should have not missed the last note the first time.
Yes, that's okay. Those things can happen, but that's not it's easy fix, so to speak. Listen, it's wonderful. One thing I wanted to say before we'll talk about this particular piece is that we always need to consider some of the backgrounds or the nature of the composer himself or herself. In this case, nature of composer of Liszt. Liszt was obviously a phenomenal pianist. I mean, arguably the best known pianist that we heard of in existence, but arguably obviously. But the thing is that he lived a long life, but he retired from a very active concert career at the age of 37. He was very young when he retired. But while he was performing, he was this very flamboyant, very flashy. He was a superstar, and according to the legend, he was he was attracting lots of excitement in his playing. There was lots of excitement in his playing, so he was quite daring in his performances as well. And we can somehow tell according to his repertoire and the compositions. So one thing we need to kind of remember that he was fantastic composer for the piano as well, predominantly. He knew how to write for the piano. Many things actually that he's indicating in his score give us the feedback of how to play pianistically, because those things are entangled together with the musical context. So, and we'll talk a little bit about this as well in a second. First thing that I want you to remind yourself that you shouldn't be ever afraid when you're playing Liszt. You might want to be a little bit more daring, and to try to see where you would leave your comfort zone. And you need to trust the composer. The way he would write for the piano is quite comfortable. It's very comfortable to play his music. So now, for example, when you start, it's forte, right? I would feel that you could play a little bit stronger. I mean, this forte is, yes, it's one forte, but it's relative. Now you are sitting in a huge concert hall. Obviously, you have to fill up the room with the sound. So when you start from the beginning, make sure that it's you really explode it a little bit more. So make it a little bit more intense. Yeah? Could you try one more time? And toward the end of the passage, just make sure that you relax your hand a little bit toward the end. Just the first passage. One more time, from the beginning, please. Yes, that was already better. Now, one thing also I wanted to mention to you. Do you see that little triangle on the top of the first note in the right hand in the C?
Yeah, the accent.
That's accent. But that the type of accent has to be played in a certain way, I feel. Because there are different kinds of accents. It's not a sforzando, it's not an accent that has with this kind of shape, with this kind of triangle. So this is like that. So, we have to determine what we want to do with it. And I think, in my humble opinion, Liszt was very, very meticulous about writing correctly for the piano. So, in this case, look at my hand. You might not see this, but I'll show it closer to the keys. While we're striking the key, don't strike it down. Strike it a little bit forward, towards the full board. What it does, it gives you more power instead of using the muscle. instead of playing it down. The following note also would be strong, would come out. So could you play slowly, but play on the first note down and forward. Don't slide your finger though, just, yes. Yes, and follow through. Slower, slower. Yes, that was better, that was better, that was better. And as you are playing this whole passage, because it's a reinforced sound, it has to be quite strong, try to strike the keys with the full finger. Not with the tip of the finger, but with the full, look at my hand, with the full finger, so that you would get more power with the finger weight. Will you try once more, please? That was better, actually. That was better. As you are practicing, practice slowly. You don't have to rush through, or you don't have to play it fast. First of all, and it applies to all of the pieces that we are playing. If you can give yourself a reference of how it should sound in a slow tempo, then it would be much easier to speed up. Yeah? So it's like once we know how to do things well, I mean, you know, as we learn how to walk, we don't have to learn how to walk faster. Right? So that's that. Okay, now, next passage. Could you continue please from here?
Yeah, do you want me to keep going after that as well?
A little bit more intense. Look at left hand. Those martellato staccatos need to be a little bit more fixed, so to speak, more articulate. Try to increase the velocity of your fingers, not the speed of the tempo that you are playing, but with more velocity. Could you try to apply that? Wonderful. Yes. Yes, that's wonderful. Now let's do the same thing together with right hand. Yes, that's wonderful. Now, one little secret, I think. You know, when we are playing fast music, we don't necessarily have to play it very fast for it to sound very fast, which is ironic. So what I just mentioned about the velocity, that should be applied in particular to the faster moving notes. For example, in those 16 notes that we have, if you strike the bottom of the keys quicker, it would seem like that we have more space between the pitches. So, in other words, if you look at my hand, so if you have like 4 notes, right? And if we strike them quicker, then we will have more space in between them. So for that, sound will project much quicker. So could you try once slowly, just right, because I'd like you to increase more clarity on this passage. A little bit slower, please. Just right hand. Yes. Some notes are good, but some of them are still a little bit with the are played with the slow action. So. Get to the bottom of the key much quicker. So play it slow, but get to the bottom very quick. Yes, that's right. Did you notice the difference in the sound quality?
Yeah.
See? So now try in this tempo with both, but with that kind of articulation. On my end it sounded better. And I feel that you probably felt a little bit better, it felt different. Yeah? Now, let's increase the tempo just a little bit. And we'll move on after this. clearer for me. And I think you felt more comfortable. It seems like that you felt more comfortable playing this now because it wasn't as, you didn't seem uncomfortable, so to speak. Now, could we continue, please, from the following passage and continue to do with the longer phrase?
Okay, is this... Okay, and then where do you want me to go?
And then continue and I'll stop you. Those martellato staccatos at the very beginning, this needs to continue in the left hand when you have this long ascending passage. Yeah? And I'll give you a little hint. There are different ways to play staccatos. And different kinds of staccatos, as you know, right? But I feel like that we have to find right gesture for this particular staccato to make ourselves comfortable, but predominantly to make music sound more effective, so to speak, while we feel comfortable. And this is an interesting element about Liszt, that he combines physical aspect to the musical context, and he entangles those two together. They are blended. So it's never technique separate with the musical context. With Liszt, it's always together. That's why we always need to seek for the resolution for some technical challenges through musical context. Yeah, for example, in this case, when you are playing these staccatos, I would suggest, look at my hand and I'll show it to you. Instead of striking it down, when you get to the bottom of the key, just turn your finger tiny bit sideways, as if you need to pinch it. Could you try just left hand? Yes, much better. Now, it was much better. Now, try to, instead of moving your hand up, don't move it up. Just once you strike it, then release it right away. You don't have to think about moving finger up. It will move on its own. Okay, now, the difference is that you are doing it better, except what I noticed that when you are playing, it sounds a little bit like this too, for my ear as well. When you are striking, you are pulling towards you. Don't pull towards you. Don't pull finger toward you. Pull, actually turn sideways a little bit. Look, instead of moving towards you, you will pull it sideways a little bit. Yes? Yes, that was better. That seemed better. Because it has different sound qualities. If you are doing or it has a little bit different sound quality itself, plus technically it would feel different. Now try with both hands, please. Thank you. I felt that it was better. I felt from this side it sounded better. Now, as you go up in the register, you are playing the second version, right? Or the Ossia. You are playing in the high register with the right hand. Your left hand needs to gain more power so that you have the sempre più forte accelerando still present. So I think what happens, you are leaning toward your right hand when you're playing, in this case. And you won't be able to gain too much power in here because you are in high register and it has only so much that it can take. What you could do at the same time to make sure that continuing with the same type of articulation as I mentioned in the previous segment. So that you will gain more power that way. Not necessarily volume, but power. Could you try once more from the high register? From here, with both hands.
Right there.
Right, with both hands, please.
Yeah, I don't remember my place. Sorry, I'm not quite sure exactly where you mean for me to start.
You can start from here.
So from the... Okay, right here. There it is, sorry.
Yes, anywhere. Start anywhere. Yes, yes, Anna. The thing is that as you are trying to find a place, make sure that you are getting enough density in the sound. Because even if you play right notes, if it's a little bit on the surface, then you won't get good feedback. You know. So make sure that you are getting meteor sound. Don't be afraid. So make sure that it's powerful sound. Try once more. Yes, that was better. I think overall crescendo could be a little bit more in this case. Yeah? Now, let's continue to the following chords, please. Okay, now, in here, crescendo should continue because you have to land eventually in a triple forte. So when you are playing this chord, now look at my hand, please. Instead of playing it down, never play it down. Just play, in this case, play a little bit forward and to the side instead of this. You do that. Little bit forward and side to the side. Will you try? Yes, except now, see what happens is I notice your gesture is like this. Look. You won't gain enough power here with this kind of gesture. So instead of playing it up, play in. So what I would suggest, look at my hand. Yeah, look. Instead of, it's a different sound. Look. It's a different sound. You don't need this kind of sound. You would need to have gain different type of sound. For that, you would have to change the articulation here. So your articulation should probably go forward. See what happens when you push forward. Look at my hand. You would utilize more arm weight. And if you're playing up, the weight goes up by default. So then you would have to compensate with muscle and then hand can get tired and so on and so forth. So make sure. So it would be a little bit forward motion. Try once more, please. That was better. First two chords were better.
I keep losing it on about the third chord. I go back.
Again. really that hard in a sense, right? It didn't seem like probably that you would have to use more effort. It would be, you would just try the keys from different angles. Try one more time, please, and let's continue. Okay. This episode, once we play this, this has to be really powerful. Then the next accent, that's a different type of accent. This is the accent that I would propose to play it as if you would need to snap your wrist down. And the reason for that is not only this particular accent, but musically, we have to hear this intonation of the left hand. That's also the slurred intonation, right? So how do we gain this? If we play just, it will become straightforward. So now, as you look at the score, you notice in those three notes that I just played, they have markings, three different types of markings. So this one has different accent, the following one has different accent, which resolves. Then it will be much easier to play following passage. Could you play just this? Yes, one more time please. Yeah, except when you are playing A flat, keep your hand in the keys while you are playing the accent, and then resolve it on an 8th note. Try once more, please. Make sure that A flat is played toward the full board. It's a different gesture. Yes. Yes, that was much clearer. That was clearer intonation. Now, add the right hand. Let's add the right hand. Calmly.
So just the right hand, not the extra notes in the left hand.
Yeah, let's play everything. Let's play everything. Yes, that was much better. Now, as you are playing this, follow through all the way. And when you are practicing slowly, play this more melodically. Would you play one slowly? Try one more time, please. You know what, this was better. It was better, except when you are going up in the register, I feel that your writing needs to have a little bit more intensity in the fingers. Could you play just the right hand, please? Yes, one more time. Great, great. One more thing I would suggest when you are playing this. When you are moving up, don't lean forward. Because when you lean forward, see what happens? Your elbow would lock. So just lean a little bit back so that you would extend your arm. Try once more, please. Yes, thank you. Exactly. Now let's play a little bit faster. Exactly. Yes. Yes. It felt better probably, but it definitely sounded better. Now, as you go to the last three measures, these triple forte, I understand it has to be very powerful, but it has only poco rallentato, not too much. Don't slow down too much. Could you play last four measures, please? Powerful. One more time, please. One more time. A little bit stronger. Yes, that was better. As you are moving this, try not to break this. Don't separate those notes too much. It's basically a broken chord. So you would almost, it would seem like that you are playing the whole chord together. Just so don't aim towards individual note. Just play it as whole. So more with more action. Pick up the whole chord as if you are playing it together. Try one more time, please. Yes, thank you. That probably felt also better because it was easier to move hand from the lower register. Listen, congratulations, wonderful. It seems like that you are you challenged this piece and it's growing as we speak. And I wish you all the best. Do you have any questions, Gorski?
I don't think so.
Wonderful. You did wonderfully, and I wish you all the best and good luck. And I hope to hear you sometime soon in the near future.
All right.
Again.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Wonderful. Good luck.